Hello, hello. Mic testing 1 2 3 4. Sound testing 1 2 3 4. Hello. Fine. So anybody else is joining or I think yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, all. So today we will I'm going to be start the real-time topics. So general ledger accounting. So I think somebody else also to join. So let's wait for 2 more minutes. Then we can start the session.
संगठन ने लगाई पोस्टर, लिखा गुजरात में सेंचुरी नहीं लगी, इशारा समझो महाराष्ट्र में हाफ सेंचुरी भी पूरी नहीं होगी। सलमान खान की फिल्म टाइगर जिंदा है के मामले में हिंदी बना मराठी
You, I think can somebody yeah, can you go mute? I think yeah, it's fine now. Just wait for 4 more minutes. I will then we'll start. Once again, good morning and good afternoon all. So today I'm going to be start the real-time session. Basically, the topic which I'm going to be take is general ledger accounting. So let's see the today's topics point of view, which I'm going to be covered, and everything I will show you in the system. So let me let me tell my approach basically. So first we will discuss on the topics, the theoretical part, and second thing is we will go into the system and we will do the configuration, and then we will go to the front end and simulate the transactions in different ways, all the possible ways to analyze the results. So I'm using the three documents here. So one is for presentation or a directly system. So some of the things directly we can see in the system. So first we will cover wherever the changes are coming in. I will explain you all the theoretical part. So I will show you in the system itself. So second thing is then we will go to the configuration. We will try to build the system, and third thing is then we will see the front end. Okay. I'm using different things here. So one is presentation, which will cover the topics. Then I will use my Excel. So here basically all the front end, whatever we are going to be simulate with a different kind of experiment, different kind of scenarios. So I'm building up, so then we can see all these things in the front end. Front end also the topic wise. Second thing is this, and also we can see the configuration document also. That also I will share with you, with all of you. So the changes wherever coming, I will explain you more there. Wherever the changes are not coming, the straightforward things, I will highlight those things basically during the configuration, as well as during our topic sessions also. I will more focus on those areas where the changes are coming with S4 HANA. So wherever we have a delta, I will focus more, and wherever we don't have a delta, the straightforward things, just we will skip those things. Anyway, some point of time we need to do configuration anyway. So, but those things will not go in detail because you already knows all those things. Okay, the three things. So one I'm using all the possible scenarios. I'm using my Excel, and also the theoretical part. Also, I will use my system, and also will use my the configuration document which I prepared. I will share with all of you, so that you can in your system also you follow the same thing. So you do your configuration, so you can simulate all those stuff. And if you have any issues also, then we'll discuss on the subsequent sessions. Okay, I don't think you will have a problem if you follow me with all these things. Okay, so what I'll do today is quickly I will take you through the general ledger concepts, and during the session, if anybody have a doubt, just put me on your question on the chat. And end of the session, for 5 or 10 minutes, I will open the session, then you can ask your doubts. Or in the subsequent session, then the 5 minutes I will open the forum before we start the session or after the session, so that you can ask all your doubts. Okay. And second thing is basically during the concepts which during the theoretical part, you will not understand 100% here. You cannot expect that. So you will expect 25% of understanding there, and 25% again we can add. You'll get more stuff during the configuration, and remaining 25% you'll get during the front-end transaction execution and simulation, and 25% is based on your practice. Okay, so let's start the topics today's topic. Yeah, today I'm going to be covered the new things which are coming in with S4HANA. So the delta is which is coming from classic to S4HANA. So these are all the topics I'm going to be covered today. So the universal journal, concept of the universal journal, we will see in the system. Also, I will explain you this with the PPT as well as in the system. And also we have an existing table, line item table. Is a new line item table is Esidoka, and the existing line item table also we are continuing. Why we are continuing this table? So this also we will discuss in detail, and what is the differences between your BSEC versus BSEC to Esidoka. Those things also we will see. And the non-disruptive approach, for example, the customers who are using the current systems when they are migrating, so all their custom developments on custom development programs which are using the existing architecture tables, whether those will be get disturbed or not. If I mean how they are, this technical architecture point of view, how they are managing this situation, this also we will go in detail. And also we will see the in the in the ECC6 you have, if you implemented a parallel ledger, you have leading and non-leading ledger there. But in S4 on S4HANA there is a one more new ledger is coming in, that is extending ledger. Earlier in the initial versions we used to call it as a appendix ledger. Now we are calling it as a extending ledger. So this extending ledger, why we are using, what is the purpose of this extending ledger, what is the additional benefit we are getting with extending ledger, and all the technical point of view and all those things we can see on extending ledger point of view. And also understanding of merging of GL, and now all the cost element master data is merged with GL. So that means everything you are creating under the one screen, single screen with a single transaction is with FS00. So how we are merging and what are the things changing there, what kind of additional things added there, so we can see in GL and customer master data. During the also we will create the master data, also we will post the transactions for the primary and secondary, all those stuff we can see there. And also currency configuration. So currency configuration, earlier we on the classic we used to get only 3 currencies. We used to report only for the up to 3 currencies, but now on 1709 basically and 1610 onwards it is 10 currencies we can able to report. During initial versions basically there are only 3 currencies used to support it, but 1511 there are 9 currencies. Now 1610 onwards there are 10 currencies we can able to report now. So all those configuration as well as the detailed configuration also I will show you, and we will do the setup for currency configuration. And there are a couple of other things also we need to discuss. I will show you in the system. I will explain you each and everything there, and how to now controlling is merging with your finance. So what are the new setup we need to do? So what those things also I will cover in this session. Okay, so let's see from the beginning the universal journal. So I will take you directly to the system. So let me explain. Before that, let's see let's see the challenges why this has invented. If you see the existing current architecture of database, you can see for example you have multiple submodules along with your general ledger accounting. You have multiple submodules, asset accounting and COPA and ML and asset accounting, and all these different submodules have different architecture. So you are posting, when you post particular document to your general ledger, for example, if you post some document, it will be posted to your header as well as your line item. So the current architecture is the BKPF and BSEC, and in addition to that, it is you are posting it to your index as well as total tables, like your, for example, it is a customer line item, it is a BSIS and a BSES. This is customer line item, is a BSID and BSCD. It's a vendor line items, it is a BSIK and BSEK. And also, if it is a general ledger, again you are saving to BSIS and BSES. Here, what is happening is, so you are storing the data multiple times. You are storing in the general ledger table. Addition to your BKPF and BSEC, you are addition to that, you are saving the same data to your index as well as the total tables. In the same way, if you take it from asset accounting, there are multiple tables which you are storing. The same thing you are storing again in your you are saving this to your general ledger accounting as well. So for example, your ANLEC and ANLA and all those I mean depreciation relevant tables, and also your all those things, basically you are saving twice. So here you have a redundancy data, and also if you see Metal Ledger also, you have so many tables there. So where you have a redundancy data from GL to Metal Ledger, and also for the accounting based, I mean for the COPA point of view also, you can see that. So all these things now they are merging, all the submodules tables they are merging with a single table, which we are calling it as a ACDOCA. Which that's why we are calling it as a single source of truth. All your submodules tables are now merging with your ACDOCA table, which we are calling as a single source of truth, where we are reducing the redundancy of the data. So we are not storing the data multiple times, we are storing the data only one time. And here the advantage is we are reducing the data footprint and also the processing time. See, for example, if I wanted to execute one report, so when it is checked for the multiple tables and fetch the records from the multiple tables, basically it will takes for me, for example, if it takes 50 minutes, when it is goes to the single table and fetch the data from the single table, it will take only 2 minutes time. Okay, so that is how they invented this particular table. Okay, and other thing is also if for example if something goes wrong, if you wanted to again need to reconcile, for example in the AA, so for example something goes wrong, and if you wanted to again you need to do the reconciliation with your all these GL2 asset accounting. So here, as it is a single repository, so you need not to do any you need not to put any reconciliation efforts here. Okay, the data is storing, everything is storing at your ACDOCA table only. So everything, also if you wanted to build your reports also, you can refer only single table, you need not to refer the multiple tables here. So there are a couple of advantages here is basically you are reducing your data footprint, which is helping for higher throughput, and also it is helping for I mean it is reducing your efforts on reconciliation part, and also it when and it is reducing your efforts when you building the reports also, while when you are referring for the multiple tables, here you need not to go for all those tables, you can refer the single table. So like that there are different advantages you can see here. So we will see in the system how it is matched and how I mean this particular table is I mean what are the things, what are the controls we have at this particular table, we will see, and we will go in detail also during the configuration as well as when we execute the front-end transactions. There we will see so many observations, so we will do the analysis there. Okay, that's what it's a I mean the concept, it takes best of all worlds, ledgers, market segment, coding blocks and all etc, and one latent table with full detail of all applications with instant insight and extendability. And also hardly, I mean by design itself, you don't need to do any reconciliation. With the reconciliation, I mean because you have a single line item table which is storing all the submodules information there. Okay, hardly no reconciliation and ledger needed between FI, CO, AA, ML and AA. Reconciliation become absolute now. Absolute now. And secondary cost elements are now GL accounts. Anyway, those things we will see in the GL master data creation. So there is a different topic. We will cover those in detail. I will cover those in detail in future slides. And also data stored only once, no reconciliation needed by design itself. So and reduction of memory footprint through elimination of data redundancy. So you are not storing the data multiple times, you are storing the data in this only one time with ACDOCA. And fast multiple dimension reporting possible with replication of data business warehouse. That means, for example, when you flow something, some information from UCC to BW, so you basically you are mapping all your fields to InfoCube. So from there you are flowing the data to BW system. So here you need not to go for multiple tables and fetch the data. So you can only refer your ACDOCA table itself, and also you don't need multiple extractors here. So these are the advantages you can see from ACDOCA point of view. Let's see in the system how it is evolved. So I'm using the I mean, as we discussed, I am covering all the topics on 1709. So this is a 1709 system, so I will show you all those things also. Here you can see the information. Go to status, so you can see the version information. So this is 1709 version. This system is basically now we are running on 1709. So everything whatever I'm going to be covered on the latest one, latest system, latest version only. Okay, so let's see the AC Doka. So let's analyze more there, or go to S11. See what is a in what just let's see, let's analyze a AC Doka table here. Basically what are there here. So if you can see the universal general entry transaction currencies and units, you can see the include here. And also you can see something else. Yeah, universal general entry currency keys you can see here. So now you can able to report for the 10 currencies, all those things also you can see here. Currency 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Additional addition to your company code and group currency, you have freely definable currencies up to 8. That means overall 10 currencies you can able to report. Also you can see the general ledger accounting account assignment here. All your profit center and business area and all those stuff also now is coming under AC Doka table. And also universal general entry for the value fields for I mean whatever there in costing based COPA. So everything they are bringing under accounting based COPA. Whatever the characteristics you will create under the accounting based COPA, those will be captured under this table. So those information we can see here. Also the mandatory fees for GL and something else from SA, Tramiel, all those things also we can see here. Yeah, universal general entry for fields for several subledgers also you can see here. Okay, relevance invoice, follow document type and order number, material number, plant, everything, customer number. For the subledgers of FI also you can see. This is for different modules. This is for from FI perspective. You can see the sales and purchase, house banks, and all those stuff, and the universal general field for asset accounting. So these are all the fields added from asset accounting. All the asset accounting tables now merged with AC Doka. So those information you can see here. And also general entry field for the metal ledger. So all the metal ledger tables now merged with AC Doka. This information we can see here. And also it the central finance is a different component. We will talk in detail about the central finance. Is a different topic. So those tables also you can see here. And also CO, I mean universal general entry for CO fields. So you can see here. and universal general entry for fields for logistics, and universal general entry fields for logistics actuals only. Universal general entry for COPA fields we can see here. And addition to that, for the public sector and joint venture accounting and all those things also measured with COPA, with ACIDOCA table. You can see joint venture accounting and public sector, all those things also we can see here, and also for fields for the real estate management. And also for the extending, fields for the extension also is possible here. So if you wanted to add something, so now I think everybody is clear on this. All the submodules of your finance and controlling modules are measured with COPA. It's a single repository, it's a single source of truth where you are getting all the information in at one place. Okay, that's why by design itself, basically it is taking care of all the reconciliation part. So you need not to do any further reconciliation here. Okay, so everybody is cleared on up to now. So there are so many other things we need to check, but we will check in future by simulating so many things there. But as of now, the basic understanding of ACIDOCA, if everybody is clear, or if anybody have a question, please put me on chat so that I can answer your question. Okay, so let's go to the new things. So we have understood what is ACIDOCA. So let's go for the new topic. So that's what you can see for Flexa Flexi information also on ACIDOCA table. Okay, and the classic point of view, we can see you would have not get this information on your BSEC table, but you are getting the same information on ACIDOCA table. So that's what, there are so many differences from ACIDOCA to BSEC. So where what you are getting on ACIDOCA, you are not getting on BSEC. What you are getting on BSEC, you are not getting on ACIDOCA. So Mustang should understand, you have a clear understanding basically when to refer to what. So those things we will discuss in the next slides. Okay, and coming to the next topic is non-disruptive approach for the accounting interfaces. This means basically, for example, I am using my classic system since last 10 years. So I have so many Z programs, and I have my data. So I don't want it to, is that will get disturbed or not? So basically, so with the logic, they have, with the approach of non-disruptive approach, which they are calling and which they are following, basically your in existing programs or existing things will not get disturbed. So when you do the migration, what will happen is all your existing tables will convert it to the CDS views. So you can basically, after migration also, you can access those tables, but only the thing is you cannot update and insert to that particular table, those tables. But the information which you can, is saved to that particular table, you can still access those tables. So whatever, for example, my existing program is using BSIS and BSEAs and BSID, BSAD tables, so that will not get disturbed. So still after migration also, you can access those tables, it will fetch the data from those tables. But only the thing is, further to migration, after migration, if you try to save something to those particular tables which are obsolete, so those things will be redirected to your new program. That means new tables, new architecture tables, which we have seen now ACIDOCA, that will be redirected to your ACIDOCA table. That is a whole change. That's what we are calling it as a non-disruptive approach. Okay, and your external interfaces like your BAPI or direct call and accounting interfaces have been kept stable. So there will be no disturbance for that. And also you can see that technically the universal general development, that's what, did not affect the external interfaces. It will work as it is. And the validation and substitutions point of view, it works as before. This validation and substitutions, basically it will works only on your BSEC table. it is not working in the standard way in ACDOCA table. Basically, there is a body. By using that body, basically you can get the functionality of validation and substitution on ACDOCA table as well. Okay, there have been some internal enhancement to the accounting interface, which will redirect it to the new accounting interface. So when you after migration, if you try to post something, those internal redirects, the internal enhancements, those will be redirected to your ACDOCA table. When you try to post something to your the old tables, it will be redirected to your new table, which we added, which we have seen just now, say ACDOCA table. And also we can see a couple of other things. Basically, a list of absolute accounting tables in S/4HANA Finance. Your all BSIS, BSCS is general ledger account, general ledger open items and cleared items, and also BSID, BSAD, basically general, your customer open items and cleared items, which we used to use for, and also BSIK and BSEK for vendor open items and cleared items. So BSIM for documents for material, and FAGL BSIS, which is GL accounts for for the new GL open items and clear items. So all these tables now are removed. That means these tables are absolute. So these are no more, you can say. But no more means you can access these tables, but you cannot update to these tables once you migrated. Okay, and when you see aggregate tables point of view, the GLT0 on the classic which you use, GLT0 and GLT3 and Fagelflex and KNC1, LFC1 and KNC3, LFC3, COSS, which we used to use for costing, cost totals of internal postings, and COSP for cost totals for expenses, external postings. So these tables also absolute. So there's no more means, so those only you can access those tables, but you cannot update those tables. Okay, so this is overall about the non-disturbed approach and the absolute tables which we can see the system. And also and one more concept is the ledger concept. So ledgers, so on the classic, if you implemented NewGL in ECC6, you have a parallel ledger concept there. So you have only leading ledger, non-leading ledger there. Now they are coming up with a new concept, new ledger called extending ledger. This in the earlier versions, basically we used to call it as appendix ledgers in the initial versions. Now we are calling it as a extending ledger. Even initial versions we used to call simple finance, and now we are calling it as S/4HANA Finance. So the extending ledger concept is basically this particular ledger is used for management accounting view purpose. Okay, and how it will be differ from leading to non-leading, that we will discuss in detail. So basically, if you see the current architecture, just a minute. If you see the current architecture, basically the leading and non-leading. So in what is happening here? So when you posted something to the leading ledger, it is also posted to the non-leading ledger where you have a duplication of data. The same entries again, it will be posted to the non-leading ledger where my database is occupying more. So it is where I can see the redundancy of data, and it is consuming more space there. So when you coming to the extending ledger concept, basically if you post to something to the extending ledger, it will be posted to the only extending ledger, and you should use the base ledger. On top of base ledger, you are using the extending ledger. With the combination of base ledger and extending ledger, you are getting the final output. That means if I posted something to the base ledger, that means my leading ledger, it will be not posted to the extending ledger. For example, I have only 10 entries where I can show up to my management, so on top of my leading ledger. So I need not to again duplicate the information, which if I post something again, it will be not like the current architecture. Basically, if you post something, it will post it to the non-leading ledger. Here it will be not posted to the extending ledger. Extending ledger in top of on top of your base ledger, you will show only those 10 entries. When you you need to use underlying ledger as your standard ledger, either it is leading or non-leading. So then on top of it, you can use the extending ledger. So your output result is with lead your base and extending ledger. For this, I have created a couple of scenarios. Once we see in the system, then you will get a very clear picture there. So just try to understand basically what is extending ledger. So the here they invented this because of we have a redundancy data. So basically they wanted to reduce the redundancy of data. So that data footprint point of view also, basically when you post something to the leading ledger, again it is posting to the non-leading ledger, it is consuming more database. So those things they wanted to take in care by introducing this extending ledger. Okay, so that is what the new concept of extending ledger. So these things anyway we will go in detail in the system. I have created a couple of scenarios, and this particular extending ledger is should not be part of your standard ledger group. So anyway, I created a couple of scenarios we will see in the system, so that you will be very clear once we simulated all those things in the system. And coming to the straightforward things, basically if we define on top of base ledger, the base ledger should be a standard ledger, and also it inherits with currency settings and fiscal year variant of base ledger, and only ledger specific manual postings are allowed. Can't be this extending ledger should not be part of your standard ledger group. And also there is a separate posting period variant can be maintained for extending ledger, and the extending ledger can be used to create management view on top of your ledger legal ledger, also helpful for the reporting purpose. Okay, and this extending ledger information also you can see on your okay. So it will be not stored, this information will not store in the basic, but that same information you can see in your in your AC Docker table. Okay, so and on top of your base ledger, if you have a different purposes, you can create multiple extending ledgers on top of your base ledger. That is what I'm showing in this diagram. And also the regular transactions data is stored in the standard ledger. Only adjustment entries are stored in extending ledger. One extending ledger for one purpose you can use on top of your base ledger. And except creation of ledger master data, an extending ledger does not require any additional configuration. That means a lean configuration. I will show you the configuration for it also in the system. And the benefits of so the benefit is here, there are a couple of benefits as we already discussed in the previous slide. So basically you are there is no redundancy of data, and the benefit is it reduces the data footprint here. So that is how they have invented this particular ledger. Okay, and benefit of reduced reconciliation as only manual data postings are maintained in the extending ledger, and AC Docker stores the data for all the extending ledgers, and BSEC does not store the the extending ledger data. And authorizations also on extending ledger level easily provided. So authorizations also is possible on you can give the authorizations for the specific extending ledgers for the specific users. Okay, this is what basically the concept of extending ledger. Anyway, for all these things we will simulate, we will try to configure the things, and we will try to see in the system as well. In addition to that, so we have other concept I will show you directly in the system. I wanted to those are all the straightforward which we need not to use is the PPTs for that. So we will see understanding the merging of the GL and cost element master data, and also currency settings, and also how to configure the CO integration. Those things I will show you directly in the system. And we go to, I think, let me come again. Sorry, was muted. So sorry, I was muted. So let's come again. So basically here we can see the currency setup. I'm able to add up to 8 freely definable currencies along with my company code currency and group currency. So here the total reporting is up to 10 currencies we can able to report. So that's what I shown here. So I was added here 8 more currencies here. So total I'm able to report for 10 currencies. And this company code currency is I think I was muted from the beginning. So basically the change is here. When you see the we'll cover again. This is a old screen. That means is on the classic we used to create the currencies at company code level. Only up to 3 currencies only we can able to report, right? As a company code currency is by default currency is 10, and also addition to that group currency and hard currency we can able to report. So the new screen, I mean on the S4 HANA we can able to report for up to 10 currencies. So here also the company code currency is the local currency is company code currency is by default. And second thing is SAP is asking to recommending to go for group currency as a second currency, because they have seen they have received the complaints from so many customers. If you use a different currency other than 30 in controlling module, basically you sometimes it will go for the mess up, especially when you go for implementation of metal ledger and all. So that's why they are recommending it to go with group currency only here. And addition to these 2 currencies, we can able to create additional 8 freely definable currencies, and we can able to report overall 10 currencies here. This is one thing. And other things is the configuration side. You can see here a couple of other interesting things you can see here. See here, if I expand here, here you have option for either what kind of exchange rate type you wanted to consider for this particular currency, that you can control here. And also the real-time conversion and the derivation for, if you wanted to derive it for the CO and also for asset accounting, also for the derivation for the material ledger, also possible here. These additional fields added here. So if you wanted to derive the same currency for asset accounting as well as for the material ledger, you need to tick this. Okay. And this particular thing, basically it is parallel accounting using for GL accounts. When you assign for your ledger, because now you are doing the setup for your ledger and company code combination. When you assign your multiple accounting principles to your ledger, so that point of your time, basically you need to tick this. Okay. So those things, these things we will do the setup tomorrow. I'm giving the straightforward information here, but we will do the setup, we will do the configuration, in a structured way. So I have another document, so I will share with you also, so you can follow the document. You can able to do the configuration by following the document. I will show you the from the beginnings, from the scratch, I will build up the system by using the different company code. But today just I wanted to make you understand only on the topics, the only theoretical part. Okay. So now we understood what is ACDOCA and what are the things we are controlling at ACDOCA level, how this non-destructive approach is working, and what are the absolute tables also we have seen. And also we understood the topic of extending ledger, we understood the topic of extending ledger, and also we can see a couple of differences between your existing line item table, because if you see the architecture now, you will have a BKPF header, it will be retained, and BSEC also we are retaining, and addition to that you have a new line item table ACDOCA. So why we are retaining the existing BSEC table means, basically there are different reasons there. So basically you are getting, let me share it, maybe I add it or not, I don't know. Okay. So what is happening here is, basically when you see your the BSEC have the open item information, still you can able to only get on BSEC table, and also the entry view, data entry view. So one thing is for the auditing purpose also, the data entry view, you only able to get that information on basic table, which you will not get on the ACDOCA table. That is also one more reason which why we are retaining this basic table. And also opening totem information also, it will be only stored under basic table. And a couple of differences, if you can see, the differences from the basic to ACDOCA, all your now usual tables are merged with your ACDOCA table. All those information, Fraggle whatever the information you used to get there, you can get in the ACDOCA table level. And also this new ledger which is added in the S4HANA, extending ledger relevant information, you can only you can get on ACDOCA table. And third thing is your COO internal postings. Now COO is merged with finance. So basically the internal postings of CO you can able to only track under your ACDOCA table, which will be not track under your basic table. So there are a couple of other differences while we are simulating that in the front end. I will show you all those stuff. We will discuss in detail. Okay. Now, sorry. Let's see from the master data point of view also. I'll show you. I have configured and I have posted something. I will show you from my company code. Anyway, we will do for the new fresh company code configuration tomorrow. But I wanted to show you. I will give the information here. Now CO is matched with finance, and you can see here. First thing is this is a new dimension. You can see accounting GL account type. So here you can able to see the information of your balance sheet accounts, and there are three things: non-operative expense income, and primary cost and revenue, and secondary cost. Okay, so if you wanted to create the primary cost, you can select this option. If you wanted to create the secondary cost, you need to select this particular option. So all the what is the purpose and all those things during the configuration I will explain you, but let's see something from what is the changes in the screen. Now it is meshed, or where I'm getting my cost element information data. So you can get the cost element information data here. So you can see that when I select their primary, so you can able to see the primary cost elements information here. So 01, 03, 04, and 11, and 12 and 22. So if I go for my secondary cost elements, so I'm selecting my secondary cost elements here, then I can able to see my secondary cost elements information here: 21, 31, 41, 42, 43, and also 50, 51, 52, 61, 66. So we will go in detail basically from the 1503 to till date. Some of the things we used to get displayed here, some of the things are not displaying here. Those things are moved to those controls are moved to somewhere else. So all those things during your configuration I will explain you in detail. And also you can see a couple of other changes here. Time dependent attributes is added, and also you can see a couple of other things from if you try to create the master create the cost element data, cost element in controlling, where we used to use the transactions K01, it is absolute no. So it will be redirected to your FS00 only. When I try to create my secondary cost elements under controlling, where I used to use in the classic, also redirected to my FS00 only. So these are all the things we will go in detail during our configuration things tomorrow. Okay, so and okay, now we understood a couple of things from master data as well. So but in detail things, there are so many things we need to discuss here. So those things I will cover in tomorrow during the configuration session. I will cover you everything there. So there are a lot of things to discuss here. And okay, the CO integration part also we will discuss tomorrow only. So I will show you in the system directly. So again, we need not to discuss twice on the same topic. So we'll directly build the system. So tomorrow, so I will do the configuration. So for the entire thing, so from scratch, from the the entire GL account. We will do the configuration. I will explain each and everything there. So what we are getting, what we are not getting, and what are the new things added. And also we will simulate so many things here from the back end and the database point of view and the front end, everything we can see. So those things we will cover tomorrow in tomorrow's session. So if somebody's have any doubt here, so I'm opening the floor now. So please go ahead and ask your question. I'm unmuting everyone. I'm not unmuting, but just you can raise your hand so that I can unmute you so that you can ask your question. Also, if somebody don't wanted to ask directly, so you can put your question on the chat so that I can answer your questions, whatever the topics I covered. Okay, just we have seen only theoretical part. Tomorrow we will see the configuration. Day after tomorrow we will simulate all those things at the front end. Then you can get the very clear picture on each and everything. So there are so many things to discuss during the configuration and also in the front end. So that all we will see in the coming sessions. So okay, Rajan. Yeah, Rajan. Please
So
go ahead.
what would be the scenario to have
Yeah.
more than 3 currencies?
Yeah, it is basically, for example, my company is doing business in one country.
Yeah.
So now, so I wanted to expand for, I mean, I'm growing. I wanted to expand my business across the globe. I wanted to, there you will have a requirement to report your for in the multiple currencies for the multiple currencies. So that's why they have introduced the more currencies things here, right?
Right. So,
Yeah.
but that's what the original thing was: country currency, group currency, and
Yeah.
there was world currency. So I'm just trying to understand why would you need more than?
More than that's what the world is becoming more. Global. So that's what SAP is heard from so many organizations that they wanted to report for the multiple currencies. So that's the reason they have done this invention and adding the more currencies here. And in future also you can see more currencies there. So if you see the initial versions, we have only 3 currencies there. If you see the 1511, there we have 9 currencies. Now from 1610 onwards, we have 10 currencies. In future, maybe they have a plan to add some more currencies also. We don't know. But as of now, that's what the main purpose of this adding the new currencies is basically when world is becoming, the business world is becoming more global specific. So they wanted to report in multiple currencies. That's why they have done all these innovations, which they really heard from the different businesses, and so then they are accommodating all these things on S4HANA now.
Okay.
So Ram.
Yeah.
Hi Ram, please go ahead.
Yes, but previously we had the group currency, but it's indicating the multiple currencies and representing different currencies. So here introducing the more than 3 currencies. So what is the difference between this group currency and other multiple currencies?
Yeah. Group currency, point number 1, the group currency basically we are using in the classic systems in the same way we are using here also. The group currency basically we are using for the controlling area, and for the controlling point of view, we always used to use a group currency where you wanted to have a different requirement. For example, I wanted to show something I wanted to do my inventory valuation with the group currency level. So those things it's there on classic, as well as they are continuing the same thing with the group currency. And the additional currencies here, the more 8 currencies which we are talking about, those currencies also you can able to see addition to your, earlier we used to only see the information on only on 2 currencies, but now you can able to see the information on 8 additional currencies. That it is not mandatory, but if you wanted to report for your business required it, you can able to report up to 8 more currencies also. If you don't require it, you need not to use it. For example, I built the system in the same way. So anyway, during the configuration, I will explain you all those stuff. Basically, for example, for me, I need additional currencies. For example, let me show you the system. See, for example, I want you have a different currencies type here. So basically, I want currency 10 to report for my company code as my company code currency, and also 11 I wanted to have company code currency for the group valuation. Okay, where I'm using this for my metal ledger and transfer prices. So and 12 I want for company code currency for profit center valuation. And also I want 31 for the group currency valuation, and I want 32 for the group currency for the profit center valuation, and I want 32 for the group currency for the profit center. Like that, you have a different purposes for the business. So however you wanted to report, you can report. So this is a, I mean, I'm giving the simple example, but if you want, you will have different requirement from the business to show up to report your to report on multiple currencies. So in that way, basically they have added more currency types here. So that is depends on the business requirement. If the people want to use it, they have option to use it. Got it, Ram? You have any further questions?
Yes. See, yeah, maybe it means this group currency will help the more analysis, right? Instead of okay, but it's nothing means new.
More analysis. It is not like more analysis. Basically, it is based on the reporting requirement. I wanted to report. I wanted to see my, for example, I wanted to see my inventory valuation. Earlier, we used to see my inventory valuation. I wanted to see, if I wanted to see inventory valuation in 3 currencies, it was possible. So if I wanted to, in the same way, if you wanted to report your, I mean, particular report in 10 currencies, also it is possible, because sometime basically these are all the things they heard from the different businesses. Basically, we wanted to report on the 10 currencies before more currencies, more than 3 currencies. So that was not possible. So now they are making it is possible, adding the freely definable currencies for those businesses whoever wanted to show up their reports in multiple currencies up to 10.
Okay. And performance-wise, will it any helpful?
No, performance-wise, it won't be affect, basically, because of this. You have a ECDOCA have a capability now to handle any kind of thing. Okay, so there is no effect on the performance here.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So please, anybody else have any doubts, please ask me. And tomorrow we will see the configuration in detail. Configuration we will see. Today just I given a brief, the straight forward things. So we will tomorrow I will build up the system by using this different company code, and also the setup which we are doing for the master data. So earlier we used to do the master data setup for I mean in a different way, but there are controls to set up your cost element and cost element master data. So where we have a controls and all those things in detail, we can see tomorrow in tomorrow's session. And also currencies also I have shown in the straightforward thing, but this is very sensitive area. So we need to keep in mind from all other submodules requirement perspective. So for example, asset accounting. For the asset accounting, I wanted to show my depreciation area in multiple currencies. So those things also we need to keep in mind. For the ML, for my material valuation, I wanted to see in the different currencies, how many currencies I wanted to show up, so and which currencies I wanted to use. So those things we need to keep in mind. In the real time, basically once we do this setup, we are doing this setup based on keeping in mind the requirement from all other submodules as well. And this area is very sensitive area. It will be have a lot of implications on all other submodules. Those things also during the sessions I have created the negative and positive scenarios. If you do the mistakes, so basically what will happen, what kind of implications you will have in the further submodules, and the right way of doing the things and all those things I will that's why I created 2 company codes. I will show you all those things in tomorrow's session. Not only this and other topics as well, for the CO integration and CO point of also, there are so many new things are coming in. So those things also we will discuss tomorrow directly in the system. I will build up and I will explain during my during building the system. So if nobody have any doubts, so I will wind up the session today and we will meet up tomorrow at the same time. We will. Okay, Ram, I have one more question. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. So today is my first session. So I'm a BW and HANA consultant. So
Okay.
if I learn S4 HANA, so how actually it will helpful, or will I get any opportunity? Not just
definitely it will helpful. Definitely it will helpful. Even the, I mean, if learning new things from functional, especially from finance, and also I think definitely it will make sense.
But one thing actually, that is S4 HANA is totally functional side. Currently, I'm in the technical. Currently, yes. I'm in technical. So how actually we'll get the what are the backup
if you wanted to switch on, then you can you can jump into this. If you don't want to switch on, also you learn these things will be not harm. Basically, yes, you can. See, basically the things from the functional point of view, all the information which we are flowing to BW. So there you can those information will be helpful for you. So, but anyway, if you can ask me that if you wanted to switch on to the functional things, then you can learn this course. And if you just wanted, I mean, if you don't want also, if you are interested in to learn these things, you can. I mean, I can ask you to continue in the. I mean, this course. Yeah.
Yeah, but suppose if I want to continue this S4 HANA, so what knowledge actually I should have? So is any knowledge is mandatory knowledge?
Mandatory knowledge is basically if you have a clear understanding of the classic finance and controlling modules, that is enough. If you don't want if you don't have also, basically I will provide you some documents. You can just refresh your knowledge on the classic things. Anyway, it is a bit difficult for you because you don't have completely background on finance classic things. It be difficult. But that's what, if you wanted to switch on, then you have to go through all those documents which I provided, so that you can refresh on your knowledge on the classic, as well as on top of it you can go ahead, or you can attend the sessions wherever your gaps will come. You can just refresh on those things on classic things.
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome. So anybody else have any other doubt, or Rajan, you have any other doubt?
No.
Okay. So Jagtar or Sam or Sahu, anybody have any other doubts, please ask me. Otherwise, I will wind up the session today, and tomorrow we will go to the configuration. I will build up the system from the scratch. So then after tomorrow again we will see all the front end. We will try to analyze the new changes and all those stuff. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks all for joining the session. So let's continue tomorrow. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.